Hello, and welcome along to the stream tonight. I hope that everyone is doing well. I am happy to say that I have got OBS back up and running. I played with it yesterday and I kind of broke it, but I've been able to put it back together. So I'm quite happy that it's back up and running again. The reason that I broke it was I basically made a video for GitPitch. So if you haven't seen it, I'm going to put a message into the chat room here. I'm going to put this in GitPitch video. So I did a little video about how to do. You see, it's not quite working. My chat's a little bit messed up. Hold on a sec. That's annoying. Make this a little bit smaller. There we go. So I made a little video of how to use GitPitch and OBS together. And in doing that, I basically broke all my scenes and I had to put them all back together. So I think they're all back together. So hello Nils, hello Kim. I know that Manfred's kicking about as well because he's been talking to me about Chocolatey package moderation. So thank you to him for doing some Chocolatey package moderation. Tonight on the stream, the plan is to do some more Cake VS Code extension. I feel we're getting very close to having something that we can ship. There's just a couple of things I wanted to call out first of all. The first one was that on Thursday this last week, I did a talk at the .NET Conf. So if you hadn't had the opportunity to see it, then they've just released a YouTube recording of all the videos, not just mine. So go to the .NET handle here, and you'll find a. Actually, let me just find that complete URL that I got sent to me. So where's that? That was this one from Carl. So if I grab this URL and put it into here. Hey Manfred. There's a link there to all the .NET Conf videos. So if you're interested in catching up with some of the videos from the conference, then you'll find them on that second link, and the first link is specifically to my video if you want to see more cake. No actual cake was involved in the actual recording. And the other couple of things I wanted to point out was it's one of the system or this system that .NET Conf uses was actually pretty cool. So I don't know if you've heard of it before, but there's this thing called StreamYard, and it's entirely clever. I still love the OBS, but it's very, very well put together in terms of how it works. So I guess one of the downfalls of OBS is if I want to bring someone onto the stream, then my machine is then doing all the transcoding and changing of the video and all that sort of stuff. StreamYard's completely online. So you log in, you create a broadcast, and you bring folks, including their screen share, if they're sharing their screen, you bring it in and you add it to the stream. You've got built-in things. So like when Layla, who was the host of my stream, she had the capability to put us both together as side by side, make me full screen, make my screen full screen. Very, very well put together. And also the chat integrates with YouTube chat, Twitch chat, all these things. It kind of just brings it all together. It's really quite slick. Haven't played with it properly. Had played with it a little bit, but I was quite impressed with it. You should try a real PC for once. I guess you're hitting issues with OBS because they're a bit missing from that fruit on the back of your. So there might be. I mean, in fairness, I do run into some limitations with OBS running on my Mac. If I had some money to buy a full PC, I would, but I don't. So this looks like a promising option. What I don't know is how to do some of the integrations that I do with OBS, but I'm going to look into it. The other one I've been playing with is Manycam. So we're now using this at work. It's also pretty clever. It's just it's OBS, but it's also oh, I've been disconnected. Don't know what's going on there. I just got a pop-up saying that I've been disconnected. Hopefully you can still hear me. Not sure what went on there. But Manycam, it seems to be I don't want to say cleaner because that's not the word, but it's a little bit more intuitive than OBS. Things just seem to work. So that's the things I've been looking at. Is my internet completely gone? I think my internet's gone. Let me just do a quick search here. No, I've still got a network connection. So hopefully you can all hear me still. I think I had a slight internet issue there. If someone in the chat room can say hi, that would be good. Twitch network error. Oh, so it wasn't just me, or maybe it was just me. I'm now being told that reconnection was successful. So can I get a yes, hello, maybe from someone in the chat room just to make sure that things are still alive? That would be good. Oh, something's come back up there. Not getting anything back from the chat room yet though. Let's have a quick look over here. Irn-Bru, indeed. If only. It's a Diet Coke tonight though. It's not an Irn-Bru, unfortunately. Diet Coke. Yeah, it seems to be working again. Okay, so let's get started. Have you got your Irn-Bru and popcorn for your moderation queue antics? I hope so. So that's kind of the two things I wanted to point out. One was StreamYard and one was Manycam. So I'm going to be playing with both of those, I think, in the upcoming near future, just to see what's going on. And Kim's back after watching an advertisement as well. Okay, so more VS Code extension tonight. And everyone's back. So Nils has been doing some work again. Thank you, Nils. And where we're getting to is, let's have a look at the milestones. There are still 3 open issues on the milestone. 2 of those are non-issues. They're just things that I have to make sure that they work this time around. I seem to remember creating these issues the last time I pushed out a version of the VS Code extension and they didn't work. So I need to go and figure out what tokens are needed for both Chocolatey and for the marketplace so that the actual publishing of the extension works. So those are non-issues. The main one is the support for .NET Core tool out of the box. There's still some work to be done on that one. But I did want to look at a PR that Nils raised and then have a little bit of discussion over the other items. So I haven't looked at this one yet. I saw that, so I'd said to Nils earlier in the week that I hadn't had much time to do stuff last week. I did a little bit over the weekend looking at some of the other work that had been done, but playing catch up a little bit. So this was an issue that was raised with regard to clicking run task should save the file if needed. So this was an issue that was raised a while back. So this is a similar issue, Nils, to what we'd already addressed with the adding of the add-in or the tools or the module to the top of the file, making sure it was saved first. So I'm going to go ahead and say that, can I assign you now that you've, oh, you see it, that's unfortunate. Could I trouble you with reviewing the following GRM issues sometime during the stream? Would be nice to have the latest GRM develop branch. We can do that, yes. So let me run through this, Kim, and then we can bring up Git Release Manager. We can have a look at that, yes. So let's put this one onto the 0.14 milestone, and clicking run task should save the file if needed. So I think that would be a bug. It's between a bug and an improvement. So let's go ahead and just say a bug. Look, a squirrel, indeed. A GRM shaped squirrel. So let's have a look at this one and what's happened here. So what we've done is ensure not dirty. Well, that sounds interesting. So let me just have a quick scroll down to see what we're up to here. So I'm assuming that there's a new ensure not dirty method. Oh, look at this. Okay, so we've done a little bit of refactoring, which makes sense. So there's a new ensure not dirty function, which checks to see if there's no workspace open, and if there is a text document open, we save it and return true. Okay. I see that, and then await ensure not. See, this is so what nils has done here is what I want to do across the whole VS Code extension for Cake. Currently, it uses excessively, let's say, promises, but I think when it was first written, the async await function in, I want to say it wasn't quite there in TypeScript. So there's refactoring across the board to, I would say, make it easier to understand, because at the minute it is a promise within a promise. Yeah, so the whole async await nomenclature would be so much easier. But I like the refactoring here. So we have, and where we were doing it before, which was directly in line, that part's been taken out and replaced with this. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, I'm going to say that this looks good to me. So let's do. Oh, you've not. So which one was I reading then? So was I just reading that wrong then? So I see. So we've just made it an async rather than that. And in there we are. Gotcha. Okay. But I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll approve this and we'll submit the feedback. And then we'll push the big green button that is merge. Then we'll go down here and we'll say, why is this not working? Huh. I am spelling your name right, I think. But we'll blame GitHub for that. We'll put this in. And then that should have closed out this one. And we assigned it, so we're good to go on that one. So there was one over here that we can do while we're waiting, which is, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to remember what Kim told me, which is we'll rebase it to start with. And then once it's rebased, we will approve it and we'll then say that it can merge it when it's finished so that I don't have to come back and do it. Check me learning and remembering. So we'll do that. And then we will go back up to the other dependabot commands, which is, oh, you know, I don't think it works though. I think I did this, didn't I? Or was it after the fact? I don't think this merge works because of the way that Mergify is set up to delete the branch, but I also don't think Mergify is needed anymore because Dependabot now tidies up after itself. So I'll let this run, but I don't think it's actually finished already, isn't it? I don't think this works in the current setup. Oh, I've just got a message from Dependabot on 447. Mergify don't need it. You can enable the settings in the repo settings to automatically delete head branches. So what we're saying is we can remove the Mergify configuration. Should we do that? I mean, we can do that. We can maybe do that as a follow-up to this. Where did that disappear to? Oh no, now it's kicking it off. Okay, fine. I seem to remember. I think that's all it was being used for. It was never really used for much more than that. Let's have a quick look. Oh, there maybe isn't even. Oh, that is there. Mergify. 2 years ago, I added it. Delete head branches after merge. I think that's all it does. So if it's only used for deleting head branches, so assuming you also enable the option automatically delete head branches in the repository settings. So let's go and let's check that. So options in branches. Or where's that part done? Oh, that was the wrong button. Control F under the options tab. Scroll down under the options tab. Scroll down. Automatically delete head branches. After pull requests are merged, you can have head branches deleted automatically. Well, that sounds like exactly what we need, isn't it? I think we should absolutely do that then. So let's allow this to finish out, and then we'll remove the Mergify configuration. I don't think we need it anymore. And then we'll jump to, once this part's done, we'll jump to GRM, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss the issues. Nils, I know that you raised or added some comments to a couple of things on VS Code extension, so we'll address some of those questions and see if we can't get them answered, and then we will move forward. That was a types one, wasn't it? That was. So we can close this one out and add it to this milestone. Happy days. And then we'll go over here. Kim's added a comment there. Won't delete head branches on forks, only PRs from the same repo, but that is the same as Mergify and Dependabot. Yep, okay. I think I'm okay with that. So I can go into this one. I'm going to grab a that's going to be, let's grab a screenshot and then I'll add it to the issue afterwards. So let's grab this, and then let's go ahead and well, let's do it properly. So I've got a traceability of this. Let's do remove Mergify configuration. Assigned to me, labels, build, milestone here. This configuration is no longer required, and instead we will use built-in option within GitHub. Let's do this. So let's submit that issue, and then I'll come over here to my machine. Cake build, cake VS Code. Let's go into this issue. And let's paste this. Beautiful. I'm also going to take the words that Kim's added in here. It says from Myring form. We'll say this setting won't delete head branches on forks, only PRs from the same repo, just so that we've got some traceability. And then this is 448. So if I go into here and say delete, and we'll say gh448 remove mergeify configuration. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. That's done. We should have a link to that one, which we do. So let's go ahead and close this out. Okay, cool. So a little bit of tidy up work done there, so that's cool. So then, from a pull request standpoint, we've got draft one from Nils, and there's some discussion around code outlining. So we'll come back to both of those, because I'm fairly sure that there are some discussion points on those. So if we go into, I'm going to get there, promise, git release. I should have just copied the link that Kim put in. Pull request is 292. Which was this one again? Maintenance. Fix service collection not being created on non-VCS commands. Due to the service collection only being set when a VCS command is being used, an exception is thrown on non-VCS commands like show config. So related issue was once when we updated to the usage of dependency injection. Fine. How has this been tested? Local debugging, screenshots if appropriate. So yep. So this is gotcha. Code cov report. Oh, couldn't get all the unit tests to work locally, but they somehow works on AppVeyor, and I'm not just talking about the integration tests. Okay, so let's have a look at the files changed. So okay. So we're changing the base type for the options. So rather than being the higher level VCS options, we are substituting that in for the base sub options, both of which are still options. And then what this was doing was registering the services. So this part's been removed. So the GitHub client's no longer being instantiated there. And instead, we have, where's he coming from? He's being newed up there. Okay, so rather than providing that, he's providing an instance. Okay, fine, happy with that. And then we're no longer adding an instance of the GitHub client because we just removed it from there. So how are we doing that part? Oh, we're doing it down here. So if I see, okay, so if and only if the options that's passed in, might have a slight issue with that. Let me just do VCS options. So if options is a base VCS options, if it's a that will flow through. That one will flow through from a change up there. So if is null or white space the token, throw a new exception. The token option is not defined. Makes sense. Otherwise, instantiate a new GitHub client with a product header of Git Release Manager. That's all the same, and that gets registered into the service collection as a singleton, as it was before. Yeah, no options from me, Kim, and no objections from me, Kim. Just a quick, just a minor suggestion. If you can fix up that one thing, Kim, I've got no objections to getting that merged then. And then, I guess, was this stopping you from doing some additional work on Git Release Manager, or is it just because it's been a while? So it's only September. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I noticed there was also a bug in cake.recipe that we need to get out at some point as well. But I kind of want to get this VS Code extension. We're this close, so I kind of want to get it done, and then I can flip back to some of the other things. I see. So Kim's saying it's not specific stuff. It's related to the Arch Linux AUR package that he's working on. So yeah, Kim's going into a whole different world that I know nothing about. But I believe I'm right in saying that he's creating a package for Git Release Manager that will work on Arch Linux. Because at the minute we have packages for .NET Global Tool, Cake, .NET Global Tool, what's the word? Chocolatey. That's the word I'm looking for. It's on my hat. I should know it. But he's creating a specific package for distribution on Arch Linux. Something I've never played with. Never even thought about playing with it, to be honest. So if you let me know when you've pushed the buttons on that, I can get it merged then, Kim, and we can go from there. But due to how AUR packages works, the users using it. I see what you're saying. So what is an AUR package? Let me just do a little bit of Google. What's this AUR stand for? Yet another yogurt? What now? AUR home. Oh, that was just the first one that was on the list. I'm not familiar with it. I'll have to admit. So once you ship it, it would ship in here. So I would be able to search in here for Git Release Manager, and it would appear. Like Gen 2 again. No idea. No idea. So anyway, Kim's working on something there. I don't know anything about it. An AUR package in its most basic version is a PKG build that contains information about the software and how it can be compiled into a binary package. Okay. Could be. So Kim's answering Neil's question there. Kim's not familiar with Gen 2, so couldn't say for sure. I'm not familiar with either Gen 2 or Arch Linux. I'm familiar with Windows and to a lesser extent Mac nowadays. So there we go. Okay, so back to here. The first thing I wanted to do was to address some of the comments that I'd seen from Nils. So let's have a look at the recently updated. And there were some comments, I think, in these ones. So let's get these opened and we'll do a quick review. Updated 3 days ago. Should have a look at that one. Let's have a look through some of these. I suspect that this one will get closed out as well. Format document. There's a few in there. Right, okay, let's go through them. So the comment here, population of the breadcrumb is tied to symbols, and while adding symbols is easy, parsing of the code is not. So I'm wondering whether we should really add our own document symbols provider, or if it's possible to get Cake support into OmniSharp Cake code struct requests, which in turn would tie the usage to OmniSharp. And then what I commented earlier today was, I believe I remember speaking to Martin about this. Oh, he's replied as well. Okay, let's see what he said. I have something working, but it'll take some time before we can get it into use. Once that's done, we should most certainly implement these kind of features in the language server. Having said that, if you want this now, feel free to submit a PR here, but keep in mind that it will mostly be removed once LSP. So yes, so I went and spoke to Martin just before the stream, Nils, so just to give some other information on here. So Martin has a private repository at the minute, which is a specific LSP implementation for Cake. So right now, the way that Cake.bakery works is it runs as a module within OmniSharp. So that's what gives us the ability to do telesense within VS Code. What Martin is working on is a dedicated LSP specifically for Cake, which would, my understanding is, it just makes certain things easier in terms of providing additional refactorings, code fixes, that sort of stuff within a Cake script. And by separating it out into its own LSP rather than coupling to OmniSharp, it just makes certain things a little bit easier. So he's working on that. He's had some renewed effort on that in the last week or so, and I saw a commit that went into the repository the other day that said it's working. So I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but yeah, the reason I was leaving this issue as well as a semi-related pull request was because I think we can get a lot of this for free once that LSP is up and running. So I would suggest doing what Martin said, which would be basically to leave this until the Cake LSP server is available, and then we can play with it. So that's kind of what I would recommend there. Configure default build task doesn't work with Cake. So what was the update here? I can not reproduce the problem, so I'm guessing, did I fix it? Let's have a look. What commit was this? Added task definitions entry to, this was a while back. What did I do here? Maybes. I'm no longer using Cake, so I can't say if it still exists or not. I'd vote to close this issue. I think the problem is fixed. Sounds good. Why are you not coming up in the... Why are you not coming up, Nils, in the... That's very strange. Sounds like a plan to me. Thanks for confirming. Let's go ahead and close this one out then. I don't think we need to assign that to anything, so let's remove the label. I pushed the wrong button. Pushed the wrong button. My muscle memory made me close that. I didn't mean to. Or can I get history? That's what we want. Let's go back to here. Close this one. Right. So did I not just close that one? It wasn't. It was a Windows key W that I did, which on Mac is close tab. So it wasn't. It was. So what's Control F4? Is that Is that close tab? No. See, I did that, but the Control key on my muscle memory is the Windows key, because that's what I use predominantly on the Mac, which is the same keystroke. So I tried to do that, but it didn't work. So let's do it this way then. Control W. There we go. Control W. Oh no, it wasn't quite as savage as that. No, it's just that it's annoying. The interchange of the Windows key and the Control key between the two just messes with my mojo. Warn users that cake.exe is missing when calling install telesense support. So yeah, I wanted to have a chat about this one. So So at the minute, so which one's this one? This is warn users cake.exe is missing when calling install IntelliSense support. So at the minute, no, this is true that you do need this. Interesting. No. When checking out a repository clean, common sense would dictate that after executing the install IntelliSense support, IntelliSense would work right off the bat, given that troubleshooting steps have been taken, like making sure OmniSharp is installed and the project has been loaded. But what happens is that for OmniSharp to work, it is necessary that the regular bootstrapper has been called beforehand, because otherwise cake.exe is not available. Cake VS Code should either spawn an error fly in prompting the user for the lack of cake.exe, call the generation of cake.exe. So this has definitely changed. Actually, it seems like tools cake.core is required. The error from OmniSharp is... So no, that is because for a project bootstrapper that will use .NET Global Tool, the workaround of calling the bootstrapper will no longer work. Should we ensure a version of Cake being downloaded into the tools folder, or should we raise an issue upstream or both? Not my fault. Cake.bakery addressed that problem. My mistake was not to test with .NET Global Tool installed. So we need to make sure that either .NET Global Tool is installed globally or the local runner of choice is restored. We could try to detect packages.json tool manifest and start a restore if needed. So yeah, it comes down to what do we want to do here? Because I think out of the box, going forward, Cake VS Code, as well as Cake documentation, Cake examples, etc., 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 are all going to use Global Tool going forward. So out of the box, we want to check to see if the .NET Global Tool is installed. So that would be this part. So that would be, so we need to check to make sure that either, so we need to check to make sure that the .NET Global Tool is installed. That's the first thing, right? Doing a restore for local tools could be a valid concern. Or, yes, but the problem, so there's an inherent problem though with using the tool manifest for resolving Cake, because you can't then do debugging. So there's a couple of intermingled things here. So for IntelliSense to work, the easiest way is the .NET Global Tool, the installed globally, but that won't work for that will work for debugging, but the tool manifest installation of Cake means that we can't debug using that one, because you can't attach to a spawned process. It just doesn't work. So there's a little bit of a chicken and egg going on. But either way, we want to check for the usage of .NET Global Tool version of Cake in one way or the other. So trying to detect a packages.json file, a packages.config file. I'm not sure if we want to continue supporting that. I'll be honest. So, but it also comes down to, well, what do we want to support? So out of the box, within the new version of Cake, where are we? We are in the VS Code. We are. So what were we doing here? What was I messing around with? We were trying to get all this stuff to work. What were we doing here? I forget what we were doing last week. And we're messing around with that. What it comes down to is we've said that the Bootstrapper command will allow download of bootstrappers for .NET Global Tool, Cake Runner, the .NET Framework Runner, and the .NET Core Runner. But what I don't want to do, or do I? See, we set a precedence there. So what I think we want to do is we want to provide, when we have the option for install debug dependencies, we should provide an option. And that option should be, do you want to use .NET Global Tool, or do you want to use Cake.core CLR? And depending on what the answer, it should either then check to see if Cake.tool is installed globally, and if it is, use that. If it's not installed globally and there is a tool manifest, it should probably run a .NET Tool Restore. And if neither of those things are true, it should probably ask if you want to install it globally. And then in the case of using Cake.core CLR, I think we should just resolve that package in the same way that we do today. So that would fix the, I don't have it installed, do I? Or do I have it disabled? I went and disabled a bunch of my extensions for my Cake talk. So let's go ahead and put this one back in. So I think that's what I want to do for the install debug dependencies. But this one was installing the IntelliSense support. So let's remind myself about the flow of what this thing currently does. Let's see if we can't get a new VS Code instance. And while we're waiting on that I knew you were going to say that. While we're waiting on that installing, let's go back to this PR because Kim said he had updated it. So that was all passed down here. And if we go back and have a look at this file change, then changes in last viewed, that's all still the same. That's all still the same. And this is now BCS options. So I'm going to say, that looks good to me. I'm going to say approve. And I'm going to say confirm merge. And does it work for Kim? Maybe it's just my machine. It's not coming up with either of your handles on GitHub. Very strange. Okay, that's done there. Okay, so if I come up to here and run a Cake, then we've already taken care of the install Bootstrapper. That will be the same. That's the same. No, I don't think so. I haven't knowingly switched off JavaScript, no. So the install debug dependencies we spoke about. So that's kind of the workflow that I think I want to achieve there. The install IntelliSense support. What does that actually do again? I think it just installs Cake.bakery. Install IntelliSense support. I think that's just going to drop Cake.bakery in here. IntelliSense, yeah. Okay. So in order for that to work, we then need to have all of those things in play. So the question is, how deep down that rabbit hole do we go with this? Oh, maybe it's just something in GitHub in general. But I think if we can, I think we probably should present some sort of error. But I just don't know how far down the rabbit hole we should go. Yeah, I'm going to come back to that one. Does not support bootstrapping for .NET Tool out of the box. Why did I reopen this? Oh, I reopened it because it wasn't fully implemented. I remember that now. Debug should use CakeDuck. So that's the overall one where it's not quite working. Yes, that's all related to that. All good stuff. Okay. Google Debugger shows uncaught in promise error 404 not found. There we go. So it's not just me. That's good. .NET Global Tool support. Script via .NET Cake without the need for. The question was, is this a duplicate of this one? Debug should use .NET Global Tool support .NET Cake. This would be nice. I can no longer use extension because FIPS compliant prevents the using. You see, that's not really the reason that you can't use that. I'm going to say that these are probably related. Yes, I think there are several overlapping issues here. Let's go ahead and close this one out in favor of the others that are actively being worked on. Close that one, which leaves us back at Git Release Manager, so we can close that one out. Okay. So I'm going to say that, let's just respond to this one. So the same code fixes, well, that was this one. Let's say Nils. As mentioned in other issue, I think the best suggestion here would be to wait until Cake LSP implementation is available, which should make some of this work much easier to achieve. So I'm going to comment there. And we reopened that one because it wasn't quite finished out. And then this one. Okay. So that means, so I think for the sake of for now, oh, I see what he's on there. Oh, it's on the to-do project. Okay. For now, I'm going to put this onto the 0.14 release because I'm pretty much doing all the work on that, and then we'll decide whether we're bumping to a major release or whether we'll stick with the 14 release. So does that mean that if I go over here, there should be no issues assigned? Okay, so that's them all back onto that one. And the question there that Nils has just asked is, should we close 99 as a duplicate of 100. Let's have a look. Show tasks and breadcrumb implement. So is there not a slight difference? So here, this is breadcrumb support, and this is code outline. Code out. So they're slightly different things, though. They have the same solution, but they are. It really comes down to how the implementation is. So the breadcrumbs are along the top, right? Both are VS Code features that work if symbols are. But what I mean is, so there will be two distinct pieces of code. So whether it's an addition to the contribute section of the package.json, or whether we're implementing a symbol provider, we'll still have to enable two separate things, though, right? So what's the no to? So I'll let you come back with that comment while I read a message from Pascal on Slack. Do you still plan to do a 0.14 release of Cake VS Code, or should the 14 milestone be merged? We are just discussing that on the stream just now. Likely we will ship 1.0.0, but most issues are in 0.14 just now, so going to work with everything in one place for now, and then decide what we are finally going to ship. Both work out the box. Oh, I see. Okay, in which case then yes. So let's say 99, 100. Let's say, well, let's change the title of this. Show tasks in breadcrumb, or what do we want to do? Add symbol, what's the terminology? Is it a symbol provider? Add symbol provider for Cake tasks. Is that a fair? Does that describe, or what's the terminology, Nils? I think it's that, right? Document symbol provider. Document symbol provider for Cake scripts to enable breadcrumb and outline functionality. And there we go. And we'll say that I am going to close this as a duplicate of this issue while breadcrumbs and code outline are two pieces of functionality within VS Code. They are both implemented by the creation of a document symbol provider, so no need for two issues to track this feature. Do that. Close with comment. Don't think I'd assigned that, so let's take feature off of there. And let's do this. And realistically, this is not going to get a milestone because it doesn't exist yet within Cake.language server, so we can take this one out. Pascal's saying he's just joining the stream, so we have to stop talking about Pascal now. Only say nice things about Pascal. I think you're right, but that's okay though. So let's do this. The commits aren't tied to the issue, so there was lots. I remember talking. This was a while ago. Okay, so we close that one out, but I think I can link this to linked issues. Let's put this in here. 99. Do this, so we can hook those up. Hi Pascal. We haven't been talking about you, honestly. I promise. So just to recap what we were talking about in Slack. So pretty much all the issues that are currently open, or all the issues that are currently being or have been worked on of these 34, they're all in the 0.14 0 release. So rather than having issues split between 0.14 and 1, I just moved one that was in the 1.0 release into the 0.14 release. I think we will just have a 1.0 release next, but I just couldn't be bothered moving all the issues from one milestone to another. So how about we just do this? Let's delete this milestone and say that the next release is going to be 1.0.0. How does that sound? There we go. So we have 4 open issues left. And I guess we need to get it working. So the parts that are left are, or let's do this. Let's do git stash 143. What was that? 143. Is that what we were working on? Allow for files other. Yeah. Okay. So git checkout develop. Git fetch upstream. Git rebase upstream develop. Git push origin. Git branch. Git branch -d feature. Boom. And that was the. I'll put another one there as well. Git branch -d dependabot. Beautiful. Okay. So git stash apply. Let's see if we can remember what we were working on last week, shall we? So where we got to. Do you still want to add Choco package for the extension into the repo? That, if I recall correctly, that was a Choco package that you created under the company account. Is that right? Yes. I think that would be a great idea. Could not be done before. Oh, because there was a I remember. Yes. I remember. Yes. If you wouldn't mind, can you create an, or do we have an issue for that? No, we don't. Can you create an issue for that, Pascal, so that we can remember? Yes, if you could, that'd be great. So what Pascal is referring to is, let's bring this over here, is Pascal created a Visual Studio Code Cake extension package for Chocolatey, but it was created with the 1.0.0 nomenclature because at the time there wasn't a way, I think I might be saying, there wasn't a way of installing a specific version of an extension, but now you can, and most VS Code packages on Chocolatey now actually contain the v6. So you are always installing the specific version that the Chocolatey package contains. So yes, it would be good to incorporate the 1.0.x or 1.x packages into the release process for this. Yes, absolutely. So is one of these not about Chocolatey? Why do I need to add the Chocolatey API key to AppVeyor? That makes no sense then. If it's set up to push a package. Oh, hold on. Have we got a little bit of duplication going on here? It looks very much like the code is set up to attempt pushing a cake. No, hold on. It is called that. So why does that VS Code not match that one? Huh. Oh yeah, we shouldn't do this, because that will fail, won't it? Version history. Yeah, we should. I think we should remove this just now, shouldn't we? Because we don't want it to attempt this, because I don't think it's ready for it. So what is this build doing? Recipe is attempting VS Code. What does this do currently when I do this? If this creates a Chocolatey package, we should probably remove it just now, because that's not going to publish correctly. It's a good thing you came on the stream, Pascal. Yeah, I think so too. I just want to check to see if it's currently building it. And if it is building it, I want to see if it's enough to just remove the new spec. And if it is, then we'll do that before we do the 1.0 release. I'm curious as to why this is giving me 278 problems. I mean, this is the new... No, it can't be that. That's interesting. It's very interesting. It's also not attempting it though. So what's the entry point for this? The entry point is just the default, right? Target is target, that'll be the default. So what then within here is create chocolate package task must not be run unless it's a publishing step. Create chocolate package. Is that what it was called? It was. So where and when does this get done? I haven't looked at that recipe in a while. Let's bring it up. github.com/cake contrib cake yes code.recipe. Let's have a wee search here. Chocolatey cake, Appware cake, Git release manager cake. There we go. So the publish GitHub release. That's a strange place to put that, to be honest. And then this is dependent on what? That dependency chain isn't the best, to be honest. And then that's run on Appware. It's not pretty. But, okay, let's just... let's test to see if it's working. Equals create chocolate package. Pascal saying, I think you once copied the chocolate package code into this repository, but it was never released from here. I think you're right. Oh, that's not good. I'll have to update the bootstrappers to get that to work. Old bootstrapper. Yes, I had the same thought. Install a bootstrapper. Yes. Install a bootstrapper. What changes did that make? Lots of stuff. Change the recipe.cake. To fix that, but I also think in this repo, code in this repo is outdated compared to the actual published code. What does that mean? What does that mean? Find build.cake. do. And then here, let's do. Oh, I think I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yes. So the one that was in here, or the one that is in here, is attempting to do a v6 installation. So it's assuming that it's using a v6 where the published Chocolate package is currently doing an install extension. Yes, I think that's exactly what I want to do. Yes, but I wanted to get it to build to make sure that it was creating it, and then I want to ensure that by just removing the new spec, it doesn't attempt to do it anymore. So I'm trying to get to there by first creating the package and then removing the new spec, and then we'll be able to say that it won't attempt it after that. So a little bit of yak shaving, but hopefully we'll get there. So Pascal's saying he's done a new issue, which is good. Thank you for doing that. 449. So at the very earliest, this would be 1.0 point here. And this would be a feature. No, it wouldn't be a feature. It would be a, well, I want to mention it, but it's not a feature. Let's call it an improvement, shall we? I'm going to assign Pascal to do this work because I can. There we go. Thank you for doing that, Pascal. I appreciate it. Future Pascal, I appreciate you doing that work. So let's wait for that. I'm getting some other notifications popping up here. What's going on over here? It's all about the Twitters. Oh, don't give me a deadline, Pascal. Okay, so we've got a chocolate package being created. So if we go into here and look at the build artifacts and look in packages and look in chocolatey, then there's a nupkeg, right? So is it as simple? I think it is, but is it as simple as just deleting that folder? I think it is, but let's test that and say create chocolate package. But if we do ship the 1.0 release, then we can bring the package in straight away because the next release will work with what's currently on chocolatey.org. So as long as we get this out, you can do that work, remove it from the other repository, pull it into here, job done. So as long as we get the 1.0.0 release of this extension out the door within the next month, everybody's happy. Understood. Nothing like applying a bit of pressure onto getting the release out. I think that's doable, though. I think that's doable. Because I can actually remove one of these packages from the milestone. What are you moaning about? Oh, because I was in the folder. Do it again. Because I can actually remove this one from here because it doesn't live in that one anymore because we're not going to ship it. Check me getting ready for this release. Some of these other issues I'll need to look into to see if there's still issues as well. But let's see where we are. Just catching up with the Twitters, Pascal. It's kind of worrying, I have to admit. I agree. Subtweeting Twitter messages on a Twitch. Bum, 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 bum. Create chocolate package, create an error. Oh, it's a new spec. No? How does that even attempting it? An error occurred when executing task create chocolate package. The directory tools does not exist. Is that bug in the recipe? Tools, recipe, chocolate. Else if blah blah blah. Ensure directory exists. I think that's a bug in the VS Code recipe. Hi Frank, how are you? It does seem that way, Pascal, which is not entirely good. Oh, this yak shaving is going to go a little bit further, methinks. So we're going to have to go over here and say VS Code recipe. How are you on this evening, Frank? Oh, hold on. Sorry, Kim. I just assumed I was still talking to Pascal. I apologize. Yes, the recipe does indeed. Oh, look at that. I have a bug open for it. Otherwise, bad things happen. What? I have got an issue open for it. And it's so, the line's always gone. I removed it from the 0.2 milestone because I didn't want to fix it. That's a shame. Let's re-add this to the milestone then. I'm assuming that that's where we're at. NuGet.org. I listened to it yesterday because that was Matthias. Matthias was on the show. Listened to the .NET Rocks podcast where they talk about Cake last weekend. Yeah, it was a good episode. That was Matthias talking about all things Cake and the upcoming release of the 1.0 release of Cake. So I enjoyed it. Did you see me on .NET Conf? I was there last week talking about Cake as well. Cake.vs code.recipe 2.0. So, right, we're just going to have to go and do this one now then. I'm going to have to go and fix this before I can do anything else. Let's just go in cd upper level, cd into cake contrib and cake.vs code.recipe git fetch upstream git. I don't think there was anything there, was there? Nope. Okay, so git checkout switch checkout -b feature. It's actually, oh no, this could be a bug. So this is going to be git checkout master. You missed the whole .NET. Well, I can help you out there. I have a link to my video. If you didn't know, Frank, I'm sure you do. I'll put these back into the chat room. So there's a link to all the .NET Conf videos, and here's a link to my one. Watch my one first, and then you can catch up with all the other ones. It's good fun though. I was saying at the start of the stream that the usage of StreamYard seemed really cool for integrating, pulling in all the different people. It seemed to work really well, so I was impressed. Git checkout -b. Well, we should check to see if this needs to be rebased against the upstream, which it wasn't. So now we get checkout -b hotfix /0.2.1 from the master, and then let's open up code. Oh, you've used it before? I'd never seen it. The Javier did a pre-technical check before a couple of weeks before .NET Conf. That was my first experience with it, and then I played with it myself to make sure that I knew how it all worked. And then on the day, Layla was the host for my talk, and I was sitting backstage within the StreamYard tool, and then she brought me online when it was my turn. It worked really well. Really impressed with it. So I was saying at the start that I might use it for certain things, because I can bring folks onto the stream. Obviously, as you'll know, you can bring folks onto the stream within OBS, but the ability to bring someone into the stream while I'm doing everything else locally makes my machine go nuts. Whereas StreamYard, obviously doing the transcoding in the cloud, bringing folks into the stream is much easier. So I may look at it for future things. Oh, hold on. Squirrel. Squirrel. Let's have a look. So if anyone's using Arch Linux or Manjaro, am I pronouncing that right? Manjaro? There are now Git Release Manager packages on the Arch Linux user repository where you can test them out. So is this really just a manifest file that you created, Kim? No. Squirrels are good. Squirrels are good. This is for the same reason we are planning to do all. Oh, you're right. Okay, so you're using the same. Like I say, it worked seamlessly. I was genuinely impressed with it. Why would someone use Arth when there's Manjaro? So what I was getting at, Kim, do we need to bring that manifest into the repository, or have you already done that, or do we need to host it there so it's in one place? You've maybe done this while we've been doing other things. Tool for creating and exporting and releasing hosted on GitHub. all the good stuff. Submitter, maintainer, last packager, cool. Depends on your usage. If you want the absolute latest, then Arct is the one to use. Manjaro lags a bit behind. See, this is, yeah. You two go ahead, discuss Linux distros. I don't know anything about them. What was I doing? I was creating a branch here, and I was looking at the chocolate cake. So basically, no, it won't be included in the repo itself. These are Git repositories, so they can't. I see. Okay. Is so on the next. Let me ask this then. So on the next release of Git Release Manager, is there something that needs to be done to update this link here? So, or does it just automatically update based on new tags and things being added to the repo? If it doesn't, it would be good to include some word somewhere so that the next release of Git Release Manager, the next person knows to come back here and update it. You need to manually update. So can you write that process down somewhere? Or do we have a process already? We maybe have one already, do we? Git tools. Did we create one? Maybe we didn't. I want to say I started to. That's annoying. Did I not create one? Is there? Oh, really? That sounds altogether too complicated. Now, hold on. Step 1, install Arch Linux. Update the manifest. Run make chroot package to ensure it cleans a read on a clean chroot. Run necessary command to update the hidden, then push. Okay, Kim, you're in charge. I'll leave that updating to you. Yeah, I'm trying to think about. That was my plan. Perfect. Okay. It would be nice, maybe still to capture some notes somewhere, just in case. So just so that we have some. So okay. So let me ask another question: is that I noticed that you're the maintainer and the last packager. Can someone else package up another version and push it? Is there anything to stop me doing that? This is just a curiosity question now, but I can add co-maintainers. That might be good to do, just similar to what we've got on, so that all the folks in the team have access to it, but no one can without being a co-maintainer. So, because at the minute, I've not got you added on here. I should get you added on there, because everyone in the Git Tools organization. Git Tools is an organization now, isn't it? Fairly sure it is. Okay, so, well, we can talk about that offline, but it would be good to get everyone that's on the Git Tools org, if they want it, access to that. It does bring up the question of whether we need to put Git version over there too, but that's maybe a question for Artur and I always butcher his name, Asbjorn. I know I'm not saying that right, but maybe something for them to look at. Okay, so build parameters, create chocolate package. So really what we're doing here is we want to check to see if this one exists. And only do all of this stuff if it exists. Interesting. Okay. So Kim was saying in the chat room that he's previously looked at putting Git version into that repository as well as Cake, but they're both more complicated. So really what I want to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to say if file exists new spec file, then we're going to go and do all this stuff all the way down to here. Else we will say should maybe move this up a bit. Let's cut this from here. Let's put this here. Else, warning, what we're going to say here, we're going to say no chocolatey new spec file exists. So no chocolatey package will be created. Okay, so if we save that and let's borrow some of this, let's test this out in real life. So if we go over here into this chocolatey package and we put this here, and then move all of this stuff over, and let's cut this out, and then let's put this here, and then the final part was an if statement that was this part. Copy that, and we'll say that's here, this is here. Let's give this another try. Now I'm in the wrong repository, so let's get another PowerShell window. Seem to have gone off tangent a little bit, but I think we do need to do this before we can get the next release out, so it's not wasted effort by any means. Cake build, cake-vs code, and let's do build target equals create chocolatey package again, and see if this will work. Just send me a message. That didn't work well. Oh, for goodness sake, work. Really? File exists. File exists. Let's try that again. Oh, that didn't work. We'll get there. I'm just looking at. I'm looking at something. I'm not entirely sure what it is that Kim's just sent me, but I'm package. Oh, so it is actually directly calling. I see. Interesting. So this is a true compile from source package. Interesting. This is something that folks have. There's been a couple of folks have asked for it in the past, but making chocolatey packages compile from source for applications similar to this. But we've kind of pushed back on it because it's so many moving parts there in terms of the build infrastructure, having things in place, like dependencies. Oh, you can. So it's in here on line 10. Interesting. Okay. It's still, I can imagine it's not a difficult and not an easy thing to do sometimes, and maybe that's why Git version and Cake are harder to do as packages. Okay, so that works. So no chocolatey new spec file exists, so no chocolate package will be created. Okay, so what that should mean is if we go back to here, we should be able to say that gh hyphen, what was the issue number? The issue number was issue was 2, the second issue. Don't create Choco package if no new spec. While there are times that we will always create a chocolatey package for a VS Code extension, there might be good reasons that we don't. As such, there shouldn't be an error if a new spec doesn't exist. Let's go ahead and commit that. I'm going to YOLO that into the repository. So I'm going to say git checkout master, git merge no ff from the hotfix, git push upstream. Much easier than creating a Debian package. I've never created one of them either, Kim, so I can't comment on that either. Git push origin. So over here, this one hopefully has got an updated reference, which it does, so we can close that issue. So what that should let us do is build target equals release notes. I tried several times back in 2009, gave up because I could never get them to work as I wanted. Yeah, never had the privilege. So let's see if I can get some release notes created for this, and let's hope that my build is working. So over on the app there and have a look in Git contrib. So the build is running. I pushed the wrong buttons again. build just succeeded. Yes, it did. So let's see if we can get the release notes. Oh, look at that. So create some release notes for, where did we go? This one. So if we go up to the repository and we look at releases, then there should be a new draft release, which is this one. So I should be able to go ahead and publish that release. That should kick off another build over here, tagged for the master branch with 2021, and all going well. If we go over here and do cake.vscode.recipe, that should give us a new package with some tweets and some getter messages. And if that works, we should be able to update what project we're working on again. Cake VS Code. We should be able to update that with the recipe to include that check. And if that works, we should be able to update to remove the chocolate package. And then we're even closer to a release, which is good. We had a failed AppVer build for Git Release Manager, Kim, is that right? I'm just checking Slack just now. So I expected. History, merge pull request. It's going to be my Git or something, isn't it? Publishing of Git Release Manager. How did I know? Oh, I saw this the other day. I think this is running an older version of cake.recipe, which fixes this. This issue is fixed, I think. Yeah, it was a change to GitHub package repository. Oh, look at that. I saw a tweet. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so that's out there. So assuming that the package indexing speeds up, we should get that, which should mean if we go over here and close this guy out and go over here and close this guy out, then what we should be able to do within our recipe.cake is we should be able to change this to be 1. And if that works, we should be able to build Chocolatey, or not build a chocolate package, and 0.2.1. It's not there yet. That's okay. We might have time. There's lots of messages in Slack on other stuff. I'm not really paying attention over there. There's lots of conversations. Sorry, there we go. So it's not been indexed, but we might be able to restore it. So let's have a little look. Let's just see what will happen if we do this. I might be able to sneak it in. I was going to retweet that. Ooh, I think it did. It did. Okay, so this should work. Although, what are we building? What is this other one? Close that one. I can't remember whether I should be able to scroll up. I can't remember whether I had the target on it or not. Oh, I didn't. So this will not prove out what I wanted to prove out, so we'll have to run this again. But we're coming up to the top of the hour, so this will be the wrapping up of this. So I guess what we've played with today is we reviewed some PRs into Cake VS Code, one from Nils and one from Dependabot. We then jumped over to look at some PRs or a PR into Git Release Manager, which helped Kim get a release of Git Release Manager package to as an AUR package for Arch Linux. That was pretty cool. And then we went through some of the open issues on Cake VS Code repository, moved them all into the 1.0.0 release of Release Milestone. That then took us down a little rabbit hole in terms of getting to a point where we can actually get something that will ship. So that then led us to creating a release of Cake VS Code recipe to fix a outstanding bug that then was would have prevented us from getting a release of that out the door. So it was a good thing that we caught that. That was Pascal who brought that up. So assuming that this all builds and it doesn't create a chocolate package, we should be able to get a commit done into this one. So I'm going to tag it against this issue, this 449, to say that we're going to remove it, and then we'll put it all back in again, just so there's some traceability there. So let's wait for this to finish. And assuming all that works, I'm going to say that that's it for the night. And hopefully, if Nils finds himself at a loose end, we might be able to approach the 1.0.0 release by closing off those last remaining issues with regard to checking to see if things are installed, if they're not installed, installing them, but generally getting things working out of the box for Cake VS Code with the .NET Global Tool version of Cake. So that will be my plan for the week, because Pascal has now put a deadline on getting something out the door so that he can fix up the Cake VS Code repository in his current organization, so he can get those commit added in before the end of the year. Oh well, it's even better, Nils. I should go and. So is that draft PR waiting on comments, or is that draft PR ready to be made into a non-draft PR. So let's do this. We'll do update to latest Cake Bootstrappers. I'll get there. Oh, come on. What is wrong with my keyboard? My keyboard's broken. It's not my fingers. It's the keyboard. We're on the develop branch. So we'll update to latest Bootstrappers. Package.json. I'm not playing with that one just now, I don't think. Recipe.cake is, this is a build. Update to latest Cake VS Code.recipe package. Ah, really? That's fine. So let's do this. Okay, so comment, someone else take it. Okay, cool. So I will endeavor to do that through the week then. And then I'm going to add this one in. I'm going to add this one in. I'm going to add this one in. And I'm going to add this one in, and this is going to be tagged with the 449 issue. So GH449, remove chocolate leaf package. Currently, we can't ship a new chocolate leaf package for this extension, since there is already a greater than 1.0.0 package version out there. Once we ship 0.0 of the extension, then look to bring this back. Right, so let's do that. And I'm going to do git push upstream and git push origin. Okay, so back over here, and let's do a final sanity check of that package indexing. Oh, look at that. Close off these things. So over here in the 1.0.0 milestone, we have 3 open issues left. One is the API token, and the other 2 is this one. And there is a PR from Nils, which attempts to address at least some of these. Okay, cool. So I will take a look at this through the week then and figure out what else needs to happen, if anything, with this, and we can have a chat in Slack, Nils, or on the issue as we're going through this. I'll take this for a spin, but for now I'm coming to the top of the hour, so I'm going to say that that's it for tonight. Thank you everyone for hanging out again, appreciate it. As always, like I say, quick recap, we reviewed some PRs for Cake VS Code. We reviewed a PR for Git Release Manager. We did some triaging of issues for Cake VS Code, which led us to fix a bug in Cake VS Code recipe, which allowed us to then update Cake VS Code with removing of the chocolate package for the minute, since we can't publish that at the minute. So I think we got some good stuff done tonight. I'm happy with that. So that's going to be it, I think. So I shall talk to you all on the internet, and I shall see you here, hopefully, next Monday. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.